what should our level of concern be with the potential with this 0-2 start heading into this game now at home with maybe even Jeff Sims being out?
Level of concern should be high because the offense is a very ordinary offense. Nebraska has, I'm being kind. It's a very ordinary offense. The line is okay-ish. The receivers, come on, there's a glaring lack of explosion at the receiver position. There's no Samori Toure. There's no Trey Palmer. There's no hell. I mean, go back.
I mean,
like
Brandon
Kenny Bell, Quincy, and there's nothing that
Brandon
looks like
Riley
that.
would look like Jerry Rice right now. This system,
a little like Jerry Rice.
I'm being
I got you
tongue in cheek here, but
the running backs are fine. They're I like that group, but there's that's not Amir Abdullah and Rex Burkhead. So the level of concern in that regard is high. But the on the good side, defense much better in the front seven than I expected. I expected the back end to be good. I didn't expect the front seven to look as good as it is. Now you got to get special teams going on a consistent level. Foley has a big job. He does. If this team is going to make a bowl game, it has to be good on a weekly basis on defense and special teams. If you have two of the three phases clicking, especially if it's clicking at a high level, they're going to have a chance in a very manageable Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, it will be interesting how they kind of shape this offense. I mean, in some ways, you got to give like a team like Iowa some credit because they know who they are. They're really good on defense. They're really good on special teams, but they are below average on offense, and they build around that. And I think Nebraska's going to have to figure that out. They've got to build around this defense. They've got to win in the kicking game, and they got to figure out what works for them on offense. They're not going to win a lot of shootouts. They don't have the receivers.
No.
They don't have the quarterback play. They don't have the tackle play on the line to win in shootouts.
Nope.
40-plus yard plays are few and far between for this unit. We've seen some nice 25, 30-ish yard type runs, but you're not going to see a lot of big 40, 50-yard plays from this offense.
No, I think Rule would say we can be a better offense than Iowa. Iowa hasn't run the ball well for a long time. Not really well. They're not last year. So, and Rule mentioned this week, he thinks if Nebraska's really clicking, it's playing good defense, good special teams, and running for 250 yards a game. Now that's a big number. 250 a game is a big number. I don't know if they can get to that. It's a nice number to aspire to, but they don't have that kind of talent.
Well, the numbers say if Nebraska runs for just 200 a game,
which they are now,
they usually win.
Yeah, they're 201.5 right now.
And I think that metric holds for a lot. I mean, if you play in the Big Ten and you rush for 200 in a game, you usually win.
Yeah,
usually.
So
but then you have Nebraska factors like fumbles and turnovers and picks. Yeah. And
Sean, what it comes down to this weekend, I just want to see what the offense looks like without an abnormal barrage of turnovers.
How
about just one? Just one. Keep it to one. I'll give you one.
And they've been pretty defensive or protective of some of these mistakes and how and why they've happened, being on the road and yada, yada. But, man, you watch a lot of football. I do, too. You don't see, quarterbacks just dropping the snaps and handoffs and stuff. I mean, these are preventable.
Yeah, they did a good job this week. Nebraska's coaches and teammates of Jeff Sims have kind of protected him. You heard Gabe Irvin take the blame for the handoff we alluded to, the third quarter handoff that was dropped. Irvin said that's on me. Maybe. You heard it was almost like Satterfield was responding to the media because a lot of people say, how do you drop a snap? And Satterfield turned that around and said, hey, it's not as easy as you think. And, he alluded to the noise factor and the cadence and timing, all those things, which come off, frankly, as excuses. I've said it before this week. I'll say it again. When you're in an environment like that, your plays aren't going to come off perfectly all the time because it's so loud and there's so much going on. A quarterback has to build into his mindset. This snap could come a little early or a little late. but I still got to catch it.
Like, you have to be locked in.
Yeah, you got to be really mentally tough.
I mean, you got to guard the football, period. Like, you can't just take the snap for granted.
No, and you can't just say, hey, coach, it didn't come exactly when I thought it was going to. Come on. Of course it didn't. It's not always going to, especially when you're playing in the loudest stadium I've encountered in 30 years. That was I've never seen. Yeah.
I would put O2 Penn State in 2010 A&M up there.
Yeah, they're up there too. And Autzen.
A&M 10.
Yeah, it was loud.
Because it's a coordinated cheering effort there.
Good point.
That was the game where Martinez got his foot stepped on by Caputo on a snap issue.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We're up in the sky, literally. Like it's like you're 30,000 feet.
The window was open in the box, though.
It was?
At Colorado.
At Colorado. It wasn't at Kyle Field.
No, but we could hear.
That made it a little louder.
So usually we're enclosed with a window. Like, Colorado had the windows open, which I prefer, honestly.
Yeah, it was sustained noise there from the moment we got to the stadium at, I don't know, 7:30, 7:45, till the end of the game. It was sustained noise. Ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, maybe Sims just wasn't equipped for that. And hopefully he will be going forward.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Georgia Tech didn't play in too many hostile crowds.
Not like that.
I mean, I don't think they were getting, 3-4 million, in this case, 8 million people watching the games on. I mean, the pressure on Sims from him now is way greater than it's ever been.
I wonder if that was a factor. You don't know because he didn't talk to the media and he wouldn't let on. But I wondered about that in the pregame when it was so loud and so intense and so kind of weird there. It's kind of weird in Boulder. But this whole phenomenon that's taken hold in Boulder is a little disconcerting. It's kind of weird. And I just wondered, man, is he going to handle this? He didn't handle it.
Well, in that Dion show, it's going to keep rolling. I mean, like, game day and big noon kickoff. Did you see Jay Norvell's comments?
I was startled I couldn't believe it that Jay said that. Go ahead.
It's almost like Jay's just playing a role in this reality TV show. I'm gonna make.
You hear what he say? Yeah, I'll tell you what he said. He said,
God bless Jay.
This was really out of character for Jay to say this. He said, my parents taught me that when I talk to adults, I took off my hat and my glasses, my sunglasses. That's now Shedeur Sanders was talking about this sort of contrived personal shot that Rule took. Well, he was being contrived, insane that Rule took a personal shot at his dad. That by Jay Norvell was a personal shot.
Can you imagine if Rule or Frost said that?
No, I can't imagine it. It would be the hatred.
Crisis.
Yeah, crisis. Yeah, crisis. Because what you saw in Boulder was nuts. The hatred that flows from Colorado toward Nebraska is crazy over the top.
It is bizarre, like, how bad Coloradoans hate Nebraska. I don't understand. I mean, it's like we were at war.
It's like the Middle East. It's serious. Yeah. I don't think it really flows that intensely from the Nebraska side. That's my read.
No. Somebody I know went, and nicest couple you could ever meet, my age.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband left his wallet or lost it in the game, and he got it back after the game. Had to go to Lost and Found, but they were waiting around, and 6 of them were waiting to get the wallet back, and they got mother effed so bad. I mean, it was and these are just like middle-aged families with kids that are young. I mean,
not only
it's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I was a part of that. I would.
Just so our listeners understand, this isn't stuff we just heard. It's stuff we saw. I saw stuff.
It's It's terrible.
Right.
Like how humans could be that way. I mean, and just let people go to the game. You don't have to stick your finger in their face. And
they do that though.
And try. And then some little frat guy in a visor tested some guy, and he got an elbow right to his face from a Nebraska.
That was happening. There was a fight in the stands. I mean, I said on the radio show, our radio show, HuskerOnline radio show earlier this week, I was just sitting there. I just wanted some downtime before the game, eating a burrito by this Buffalo statue. And man, I saw this kid with a Nebraska shirt just getting verbally assaulted, and then hands on him. Pretty soon there was police detail there. These were college kids going at it, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's not just college.
The
kids.
percentage of people in the stadium that are students there is high.
It is.
Like of the 53,000, there's probably 15,000 students in there.
Yeah.
I mean, so more often than not, you're going to see students everywhere in there because it's a high percent. I mean, and that was what I'll say about these first two games as we wrap up headline 2.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of students at Minnesota and at Colorado, like think about the other places we go.
You don't see that.
I mean, Michigan has a hard time getting their students out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue, no students.
Right.
Illinois, no students. Iowa, it's always Black Friday. That was like one of the rare times where 2 weeks in a row, I mean, you had legit student presence, because I mean, I mean, the stage was big.
Yeah. The Minnesota student section had to be 25 to 30,000.
I mean, think about Illinois when we went out there in 21.
Somebody there.
I mean, it was like foreign students, like just like taking in their first ever college football game. Like, what's this? Like it was a whole. I mean, it wasn't like a true student crowd.
No, whereas Colorado, it was rabid. There's a rabid bunch of students.